A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Business Today, your weekly business show on Channel I, where we give you an in-depth look at today's business landscape. And today's topic would be women in management and about women empowerment. So we do have a special personality in the studios with us to talk on this topic. So we're moving on to our personality theme now. Our business personality of the week today is Dr. Sulochana Segera. She is the founder and chairperson of Women in Management to Sri Lanka, Maldives and also to Canada. She is also a founder of the Next Gen Awards Sri Lanka, which we will be touching on, and there's a lot more to touch on. She is a certified personality development trainer in Asia and is also a trainer for IFC, which is a member of the World Bank, and Dr. Sulochana is considered to be the first entrepreneur in the country to open a free food kitchen, which I was pretty interested about, and I was talking about it before we started this program as well. And this is across Dr. Sulochana.
Thank you for having me.
And today's main topic would be about women in management and also about women empowerment. So you're also one of the most talked about advocate for women empowerment and women's rights. Now, isn't this right? And how did this happen?
Okay, I would say I'm not a person who speaks about rights, but person who actually advocate that women has rights as a human being. So I was not someone who was like speaking about women. I come from a background where I thought career is only thing, but the life made me to think beyond just career. I can do better things if I started my own. But it was not easy because now there are so many inspirations to look at, and also there are some programs where you can go and learn. When I started it, there was no, I would say there was not a single platform to help me out. So it was really difficult. I was just stepping into my 30s when I started it, and I learned from failures. And then I realized that when I was working for a multinational company, I never felt I was a woman and I cannot reach top, but I was the first female human resource development officer who came to a multinational on that company with 1,100 employees. And I think my success became one of the things to date. I have left, I think, almost now 15 years or 20 years I have left my corporate career. My position has not been filled by a guy, right? So I think our country has this perception that a woman failed, all women going to fail. A woman succeed, many women going to be succeed. So it's a representation of a woman. If I represent myself, I'm not representing myself only. I'm representing all the women, including you.
Yes.
Right? So that was the thing I actually wanted, these perceptions to be out, first by women who has perceptions about themselves, and also the male also, for them to not to have perception. If we try to treat everyone equally as human being and not to give gender based, like, you know, the job description should not be on gender. Now when we say a CEO, we get a unconsciously we think about a male figure, but if we say call a receptionist, we get a beautiful girl. Right? So there are a lot of unconscious bias which has been put it to us from the, I think, from our schools and from a small age. So I wanted to change that. I think that's what I got into this.
Exactly. So when you speak of that, doctor, I remember how, you know, it's there in our system. When the teacher asks you, what's your ambition? When it comes to a girl, it's always a teacher or a doctor, maybe, you know, one or two would say doctor, but it's never something else.
We never said, I don't know, in our age, we never said we want to be an engineer.
Exactly.
Right? Because it was not there, because engineers, we thought it's a field job and it's something to do mechanical machines. It's supposed to be a male. So the boys did maths to go to engineering universities. Girls studied so hard to become a banker or to become a teacher or a lawyer.
Exactly. There's no discrimination of any jobs per se, but everybody can do anything they prefer and they like, is what we are trying to emphasize
because Sri
here.
Lankan constitution says that. It says you cannot have a discrimination on gender, race or religion or whatsoever. So the constitution is the highest thing. If we given that freedom, Why do we change it?
It's the mindset, I would say.
Yes.
And I think we've come to the state right now where we are open for a lot of information, and I
Yeah.
think it's just a click away, a tap away, I would say. So we see a lot of people standing up for their rights, and also trying to become pilots, and we see a lot of women getting into that as
Yes.
well, and who are flying as well,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. And let's move on to the topic of the top 50 Career Women's Awards partnered by IFC and AusAid. And you are the founder of this. So tell us a little bit about this and why you initiated this, Doctor.
So when Women in Management was started, my only ambition was I didn't want to be a dependent organization. So actually everyone asked me why you started as a private limited organization as a service providing. So my answer has been, if I try to depend on someone, then if they say we are not going to fund you, then I have to close down an organization. And everything is coming to us from other countries. Why not give something from Sri Lanka to them? So we had the first Prime Minister, world #1. So why can't we give them back something from Sri Lanka? So what I started this top 50 was when after 1 year of starting Women in Management, I realized there are a lot of inspirational women, but not been spoken. Like, you know, they were known by a certain circle, but they have been not known by school children, women in outside Colombo. They are not been known by the whole world. So I thought the best part is first we'll show the country these are the inspirational women. We'll show some inspiration for girls to understand that they also can go forward. So then I started top 50 with 5 awards. So top 50, when it was started, it's called Professional and Career Women Awards, and we had interviews and all that. That 5 awards, today it became we just celebrated the 10th year, so it became for 50 awards, and it has become something so big that it's just not an award that you get it to keep it in your cupboard or just in office. It's something that they have to work for it, and also they have to show that they are worthy for that award after getting the award. So what I witness, if when the top 50 award winner makes something mistake also, they call and say, Sulu, do you think that
she deserves it?
So it's like, you know, it's become like now it become more accountable, responsible. So it's something like that. So I think someone, I would say a regular woman like me, started in a something to inspire the young generation, but it has come to a level that it has gone to a global. So when IFC 6 years ago, when they saw this and they came on board and said, can we partner? So first they came as a sponsor and they saw the impact. Then after that they said they want to come as not just a sponsor, they wanted to be a partner. Then when the DFAT project came to Sri Lanka on women in work, then the DFAT, that the Australian government, this thing also came on board and said we also want to partner. So I think top 50 is not just top 50 women, they are the impactful women, not only just on economically but on society wise, and also mostly on the perception and attitudes of people.
Exactly, and sometimes they are the women who have broken barriers, maybe at home or maybe.
Yeah, because it's not only for the corporate or business or the Colombo community. All walks of women come from north, east, west, everyone comes.
Somebody who has a say and somebody who has made their stand.
Yes.
Basically. So tell us a bit about how this has gone global and what you intend to do in terms of these awards.
So when the top 50 was coming in Sri Lanka, many Sri Lankans who were living in abroad sorry about approached me and asked why we are not being entitled, why you are awarding only the Sri Lankans who are living there. Even though we had a category for international women, they said we wanted, we do a lot of Sri Lankan, as Sri Lankans we live there, and it's not easy to being in that top with non-Sri Lankans and being the brown color skin. So that's how it went to Canada. Then I went look at the Maldives and I thought they were actually applying for Sri Lankan award. But unfortunately, because of the criteria we couldn't offer them. Then I went to Maldives and I gave them the brand and said, here the brand, now you can recognize the Maldivian women. We didn't stop from there. Now there are so many requests to Australia where women, Sri Lankans origin women are asking, when are you coming to Australia? Actually it was registered, but due to the COVID we have postponed. So when you go out of the country, when you actually, the Vim is the first Sri Lankan women brand to give it to the global brand. What I have realized is, you know, Sri Lankan women are doing really good and they wanted to give back to the country, but they don't have that linkage. So Vim has become the linkage, and we praise so many non-Sri Lankans being the first CEO and all that. But we have found out there are a lot of Sri Lankans being the first in lot of global companies, but they have not been recognized. So Vim has gone out and recognized the Sri Lankan women living in abroad, and we have been able to bring them back to Sri Lanka. I brought them back to Sri Lanka and I linked them with Sri Lanka.
And also, Doctor, how do you judge all these? Do you have a team of people, and how do you do this?
So every year we select a panel of judges where you get corporate, you get business personnel, you get an international body sitting in, and government and all that. So nearly 10 judges sit on a panel. So, and they are not just male or female, the both gender sits, because you have to get the perceptions of the female, how they think, and how the male CEOs think. Because I remember one of the awards we had only female judges, then the ladies complained and said women are not supporting women, right? Then one this thing we had only the male judge, then they say how can a male judge of talent of a woman? So, you know, to come to this level we have tried all this. Then now we have a mixture of, and also mixture of trades, mixture of institutes and all that, so that you give a equal judging, not just, you know, you get a panel of judges. So we have put them all together. So you have all are been reputed judges, and everyone has been, and we ensure that winners also sit as judges the next year. So they know how hard it is. It's not just you're being popular on social media just because you are being known to someone. No, it's not that award. It's not about giving a popular person. It's about your work, your values, your ethics, and what you give back to your country.
Exactly. And let's talk a little bit about your talk show, Doctor. We need to know more about this.
So I'm not I'm not someone who is good at talk shows or anything, but I wanted to start this Plenty with Sulo, not for anything, but I wanted, because I saw when Top 50 introduced women to Sri Lanka, all the channels, all the media, all the magazines picked them up. But none of them know the true story behind them, because I've been knowing them, I've been studying them for 1 year to give the award. So I thought, why not I interviewed few people and put it out and say, these are the key things you should be interviewed. These are the key things about that. So, but it started with female, now it has gone to there's no gender.
There's no gender.
And also I put a platform where I do a lot of programs for rural women. So I brought them and gave them a platform, because I wanted it to go just beyond on, you know, corporate and business world. I wanted it to be a society impact also. And also I brought youth also, and I told them that I would say me being not having that figure of presenter, me being not having that soft voice of a presenter, and also me being like, you know, I have been very myself, right? I have not been trained to be a presenter, but starting was a bit difficult. I invest my own money. I got my own camera crew, paid them, and then I got a platform also after 20 episodes. I got a good platform to sponsor them and put it. So I think I have done good, because now it's been nearly 2 years and
it's going well.
Yes.
And we all need that stepping stone, you know, like we need to keep that first step, so that
because for us at the age of 40, you don't need, people think your dreams are not going to be happen, and also they think you're too old. And I was being told, how can you do a talk show? You don't have that figure. And I was like, okay. And you don't have that voice. You always talk tough and your face look tough. And I was like thinking, okay, let it be, this me
That's a
who's doing.
discrimination, I
Yeah.
would say.
So because it went on social media platform, I got a lot of criticism, but I never looked at it in a negative way. I thought it's not me, it's not my show, it's the person who's giving the message. It's about that whom I'm interviewing. So I gave that, and I thought let that because I brought a lot of good messages from the rural, and I think that's something I brought it.
Speaking of the rural community, Dr. Now, since you touched on that, I think awareness is key when it comes to, letting the women know that they can get involved in decision making, they can get involved in entrepreneurship and all that. So do you do anything in terms of that to, spread awareness in the rural community for the women out there that they have to come forward, they've got to represent themselves and have a stand for themselves?
That's something I do with my passion, my heart and everything. I think due to COVID only I stopped traveling, otherwise I travel to everywhere in this country. And I have nearly 28,000 empowered women under my wing. And I have brought them to Colombo. Some women has never seen Colombo. And some women has traveled to overseas with me, whom you will never believe that they will be onto that. And some women now are better entrepreneurs. It's not just entrepreneurship. I don't believe in just taking a woman and empowering and asking her to be an entrepreneur. I'm a person who actually help them to believe in themselves. And also I believe that women empowerment is not just women, it should be family empowerment, because a lot of women comes off of programs in rural after they reach 35 or 40, because that's where the financial hit you, that's where your husband leaves you, that's where your children need you. That's the age many of the women comes to me. So it has been like a
That's where they're kind of independent,
right? So that's where it's about unlearning and learning. So it's very difficult to unlearn a matured woman. So I spend a lot of time with them to get them like unlearn things and also to heal them. And many of Sri Lankan women are having a lot of issues, financial issues, because they are not independent and they are not okay, or they feel guilty to earn, and they feel guilty to tell that they are doing a business or they are earning more than their husband, and they feel it's not good. So they come to me and say, no, I'm doing it. But when I ask them, what's your husband, he says he's not doing anything, but they don't want to say that I'm the person who's earning. So you cannot go and say you are the earning, you have to take the responsibility. You have to help them to take the family forward. It's not about empowering women and asking her to leave the family, to help her to have a happy family and also be an independent woman in financial.
Exactly. And what are the key challenges you feel that women face today?
I think first thing the women feel is insecurity is very high in Sri Lanka. Women are very insecure. Where the children are concerned, where the spouse is concerned, both they are very insecure. And also women has a lot of more than men put restriction, women also put restriction for them,
for themselves.
And I remember I once watched a movie, and I used to ask, who puts the expiry date of a woman dreams or woman skills? It's we women put expiry date, right? And we think marriage is only solution. Marriage is a solution for happiness, but it does not mean after you marry you have to stop all your dreams and all. So that is one of the key things, that women are being insecure. And also women, I think one of the issues is the supportive system is not there in Sri Lanka. Still, whatever we speak, women role has been a motherhood. When I ask them to do an introduction, whom you think a woman, they say a mother, a grandmother, a sister. So that is the role that we have put it.
So what they feel is compassion and looking after another individual is only capable by a woman. It's only possible by a woman.
And also the support system is not there. Especially we have a few of the male who supports, right? But majority is not, because one thing is, our community has been taught, our sons has been taught, strong women will make issues, independent women will make issues. So when a woman speaks aloud, when woman speaks for her rights, she's been taken as, oh, she's someone who's going to make trouble. So that kind of a restriction also is there.
And where does Sri Lanka stand when we consider the number of women getting into management?
Okay, Sri Lankan, the data says 35.6 women are economically being empowered from the data. But if you look at the women in the boards, it's less than 5% something comes at, but management less than 9% women. So it's not that women are doing good, I won't say, but women are economically, this country runs by women, but their contribution has been not been economically figured it out.
Right.
Everyone is doing, but what we are looking at is women who are contributing on the corporate careers and who holds the legal access to the finance of the company. So if you look at a lot of women entrepreneurs are there, they are the one who's running it, but the registration is under the father, husband or the brother's name. So those are the issues that data is not there. But I think the young generation are more more intelligent, so they ensure to get the registration under their name. It's not that women should be getting it, but women should go for partnership if they are doing the business with the husband. Her name also should be in the registration. If so, we will get good data.
And what do you think is the main barrier you see?
For women in careers?
For women in careers or getting into entrepreneurship or maybe to start off. What is the main barrier?
So I think the one thing is women, the obstacle in Sri Lanka is first is our school system is not educated enough to understand the changes of careers and the entrepreneurships which are available for women, girls and women. So the schools, I go for programs and teachers say, if you see a bright woman, they want the girl to do a doctor, lawyer or someone, but they will never push a girl to be an entrepreneur. And they start respecting if you are having a professional qualification only. So those are, one thing is, one of the main barriers is the education system, the teachers or the principals has not been aware of the change of the corporate careers and business system. Other one is as I told you, many women, they prefer to be on their comfortable zones. So they feel they are happy with that. And I think Sri Lanka will face more issues with pregnant, because now everyone say pregnant women on risk, and the corporates will take advantage on that. But the work from home, now those days when we go to panel, we were asking flexi hours, work from home. Now automatically it has given to us, but are we ready to take it? So now the whole schooling and the whole work from home has given more burden to women. So the husbands are not much being given that. The mother who is working for meetings, she has to come, then she has to help the children with this online schooling. So there's a huge burden while she does the office, children, now because she's a teacher, mother, working woman and a spouse.
Exactly.
Right, and everything happens inside the house. Now she doesn't have to go to workplace. And now less maids because of the salary cuts, and also they are not being secure. So these things are going to affect and affecting, I would say, affecting very much. So many of women call and ask for help for the mental health counseling from women in management. So I know that it's one of the main burdens.
So that's what the pandemic has made us realize as well, that there's a whole workload at home as well. Yeah. And especially with the online work, I think sometimes
there's no restriction and timing when
the timing working. Exactly. So where do you think this is heading to, and what can the private sector do to protect women? And that would be like,
yes, I think the private sector understand about that mental health and stress, and they did not just give work. Most of the companies have started online, counseling and online some games, so that the men and women has time for them. And one example is when the country was fully open, everyone loved to go to work because they felt it was a stress release for them to go out from the work.
Don't you think we always take everything for granted when we have it, and then when we don't get a chance?
That's what, because we were complaining. I do a lot of programs on, women should get flexi hours, women should work from home. But now they prefer to go to work rather than working from home, because I think what we asked, it has given, but we were not ready to accept, and we didn't prepare the environment properly to get ready for it. They say, if you wish for rain, take the umbrella. But we wish for the rain, but we didn't took the umbrella. So we were not prepared. So I think that we have to start think that this is the new normal, this is how it's going to happen. And we should be able to, the corporates also helping, and also the employees, because there's a huge risk for employees thinking that their job will not be secure, and also employer also in a risk that there will be not a profit margin to pay the salaries. So there is both ways. So I think it's, you have to support each other. You have to support the employer, and employer also has to support the employee if you are moving forward.
And also you do a very good cause for all the people who are underprivileged, and you provide them with something called the free food kitchen across many areas in Colombo, which is of course a great gesture, I would say. We've come towards the latter part of the program, so I really wanted to highlight that before we wind up the program. So hats off to you.
Thank you so much. It was something I wanted to do for this country, because I see so many people who cannot ask for food. Many can ask. There are so many people who cannot ask, and sadly most of them are elderly people. I have met so many elderly people who are really from good families, but they are left out. So for last March, I promised in January that I'll be starting in March. From March to date, I'm doing it, and we have been feeding people every week, nearly 200 people every week we are feeding. And it's something that I think beyond money, it's I enjoy, and I have to thank the people who come. All, I think many people who has known this has come out and said we want to help. So because of them only this has been going.
Thank you very much for joining us as well today as the Business Personality of the Week, and hats off to what you do.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And keep empowering women.
Thank you.
And we had Dr. Sulochana Segera with us on Business Today this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Have yourself a pleasant evening.